Welcome back from the break. I'm Khalil Charles. Usain Bolt was always going to be one of the great stars of the Rio Olympics. He's earned his place in history. We're winning the 100 and now the 200 metres final. But his parents have also caught a bit of their own limelight by paying tribute to their son in what is his last Olympic Games. Rayan Clemenson has more on this.
Usain Bolt might be fast now, but you should have seen him when he was a baby, his mother said, as the Jamaican superstar made history at the Rio Olympics. Jennifer Bolt told journalists in Rio that Bolt was already making moves as a young baby. When he was 3 weeks old, he was a strong child. And by the age of 12, Bolt was the fastest in his school.
One day I left him on the bed, and when I came back, he was close to falling off. So from there, I was saying, what kind of a child is this? 3 weeks old, and he's pushing. I've never seen that. So, you know, but still, I didn't think of him being this great now.
Bolt's parents predicted the sprinter will deliver in his Olympic swan song. He is gunning to repeat his 2008 and 2012 exploits with a treble of gold in the 100-metre, 200-metre and the 100-metre relay.
Well, he's upbeat because he said it will be his last Olympic and he wants to go out in a glory, and so you can expect great things from him.
Asked where their son gets his phenomenal athletic prowess and entertainment value, the Bolts were modest about their own influence.
We are proud of him, but we don't think it is fair for us to be acting over the head, over the rest of people in the community, so we decided to stay there. I operate the shop mainly to give away what's in there.
Usain Bolt roared into Olympic history on Sunday, capturing an unprecedented third consecutive 100-metre crown to confirm his place in the pantheon of the greatest athletes the world has ever seen. The 29-year-old Jamaican legend, competing in his final Olympics, powered over the line in 9.81 seconds, vanquishing drug-tainted American rival Justin Gatlin, who took silver, with Andre DeGrasse of Canada claiming bronze. Gatlin, who had been booed by the Rio crowd as he was introduced, crossed in 9.89 seconds, with DeGrasse just behind in 9.91. Bolt galloped away in celebration after a superb win, basking in the adulation of the stadium, and even taking selfies with fans during his lap of honour.
Now he's known as a former rapper, a storyteller, an actor, a poet. Ashley Chin, better known to many of you out there as Muslim Bilal, first came to our attention performing different events and unique poetry manner explaining his life story and his upbringing and his reversion to Islam. Now, a new biographical film has been made by acclaimed filmmaker Sheila Nortley about his life. And to tell us more, we have the man himself and the director of the film, Sheila Nortley. Thanks very much indeed for coming in. Okay, pleasure. Ashley, it's a pleasure to have you here. What was your first reaction when you saw the film? Did it live up to expectations?
It's always hard because it's a film about your life. So I kind of left it in the hands of Sheila. So I gave her my story as a Muslim filmmaker. I was about to go away to Kuwait, and I thought, who can I leave this in the hands of to make this film? And I knew that sister was wanting to go towards making more Islamic stuff. So I said, look, this is in your hands. So when I watch it back, I'm thinking, is that how my life, or is that how my life was? But it's beautiful. Like it's definitely beautiful, and it touched me to be able to watch myself. I struggle watching myself. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay, I'm going to start there also by asking Sheila how this thing all came about, because he'd left your life, his life, in your hands in terms of portraying. What were the highlights, if you like, in making the film?
For me, the main highlight is the film itself. It's having someone trust you to tell their story. As a filmmaker and a writer and a storyteller, there's something very kind of personal about everything you write. And when someone gives you their story and says, I'm going to trust you with this, put my life on the screen and use it to move people's hearts and call people to the truth, it's a big trust that he gave me. So I'm really pleased that he was pleased with it. And the whole thing was just beautiful.
Indeed. And so the messages that you think, what the important themes that came out of the film, and indeed that comes out of your life, what do you think those are?
I think it's the journey of a human, and to make people understand that we're all like neighbours in life, like we all go through a similar journey, regardless of whether you're on the stage or you're a superstar, whether you're the layman going to work or looking after his children. So it's just showing that journey that I come from nothing, struggling. So the people who come from nothing and they're struggling, they can watch and relate, because a lot of people look at the, you know, especially now with social media, everyone shows what they want people to see. So a lot of people look at the smiles and the photographs and the glitz and the glamour of a person's life, but they never know what's going on behind the scenes and where they've come from or how hard they work. So I think the main thing is the journey of where I've come from, being lost in life, not knowing which way to turn, and then finding peace and inner peace in this religion of Islam, and finding contentment not through maybe materials or like that wealth kind of success which I was early searching for in my life.
Do you think you get that impression on the film, that impression of peacefulness?
I think you definitely, inshallah, God willing, that's what you'll get. But that is definitely the intention.
Sheila, perhaps you can tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think throughout the story, one thing that's so beautiful about the piece is the vulnerability that Ashley shows. As he said, it's really hard in the world of Facebook and Twitter and, you know, selfies to just say, this is who I am and these are the things that I've struggled with in my life. And yeah, for that came through for me, and even, you know, the people we had on board. We had editors and crew and cast from all different backgrounds, and they all took something away from it. So I think it definitely served that purpose of showing contentment and peace that can be found through faith.
Actually, in terms of that struggle, in terms of the journey that you've been on, I mean, many Muslims, you know, have come through and would have felt, I guess, some of the things that you felt as well. But were there times when you said, well, I'm not so sure I should be here, or I don't go back to do what I used to do, and yeah, I was a successful rapper, and I was the man, and things are not the way they used to be? Was there that feeling?
I've never had that feeling with regards to be here, as in be in Islam, and I should go back to my years of ignorance. However, and that's what I want to show, because a lot of young people, and I love to reach out to the young people, they are the leaders of tomorrow, and a lot of young people are chasing success. They're chasing, or what they believe is success. And I want to show them through this film that I too, like you, was chasing success. Who wouldn't? We live in London. It's fast life, lights, cameras, actions. And I didn't find no happiness. The happiness I found in that, you have days where you're happy and you're enjoying driving around in a Range Rover, but then the happiness I found in that cannot compare to what I found in Islam, and to living in a small flat in Egypt, wearing flip-flops that's worth £2. The happiness of what I had in my years of ignorance cannot compare to this Islamic happiness. So I show that in the film. But there was also times where I'm in the Islamic industry and it almost turns into similar, like fame and the big name is in like you're an Islamic superstar. And I also didn't want that. So there was a time where I said, I don't want this, and I'm pulling away and I'm leaving. And that was the time when this documentary got made, is because I didn't want to perform no more as an Islamic poet. I didn't like the fame that was coming with it. When I converted, I wanted to like go under a rock and become a Muslim now. So the fame was getting to me, and I went away to Kuwait to live. And that's the time when I said, let's make a documentary for these young people so they can see the life and not get attracted to the lights. And that's when I left it in the hands of Sheila.
Sheila, you're an accomplished filmmaker. You've made a number of films, I mean, you know, that we've seen. What was special about this particular film? Why did you particularly want to make this particular film?
There's so many things I could say, but similar to Ashley, I also decided to take a step away from the industry side of things, and I went on sabbatical for 3 years, and I said, very similarly, I don't want to really be involved in that industry. I want to come away from it and focus on what's important, because if you're getting pulled in either direction, something's got to give eventually, and I felt like I was at the point where I just had to make a decision. And so for this project to have been given to me, the timing couldn't have been any better, because it allowed me to really focus on a message which essentially I've always wanted to share with the world, which is you can't find peace not knowing who your Lord is. You know, the more you, whether no one's perfect, but it's the journey towards him, that's what we're all on. So to have the timing of it was just perfect, and the story was also perfect, and I could relate to it, and so many other people could. And so, yeah, having that complete now, it just feels like a miracle, and it took so long as well to make the film. So.
Actually, we live in a time where Islam is really kind of getting a bad press in many ways. You've had, you know, the rise of the Islamic State group, the Caliphate, and people who are Islamophobic or against Islam in many ways. Has that been challenging for you, for the religion that you came to see that it's being treated in this way?
No, it's challenging. It's hard to take, but it was expected. I thought this was always expected. Anything like these things, you have to expect these things to happen. So I don't get shocked by media or by press or by what's happening. I feel like everything that Allah puts in front of us is for a reason, and we have to just deal with it. So I'm not one of those people who gets too upset about situations. When good comes, we say all praise for God. When bad comes, we say all praise for God. We're just travellers in this life, so I don't get too irate or angry about situations and current affairs.
You have, as I said, many messages in this film. In a sense, that journey, what is it you think one of the biggest messages that you've learned personally in making this film and in the life you've led since then?
I think because I made it at a time where people all around the world was asking me to tell my story. So that's what I was getting booked for, to talk. So I think sometimes, not that you have to qualify, but, OK, if everyone wants to know this story, I'm going to make this biography. And the main message is no one will find true inner peace until they know their purpose of life. And we all have one thing in common as humans, that we're all searching for happiness. Regardless of what faith we are, whether we're Muslim, Christian, Jew, we all just want happiness. So for me, it's like a message of showing someone who was searching for happiness, but searching for it in all the wrong areas. I think as humans, we all look for happiness in all the wrong places. And this just shows personally where I found happiness and peace. And it's kind of like a message to share with others, in hope that they can also find happiness and peace that they're looking for in the same thing which I found it in.
OK. Sheila, you're both working in the arts, and the arts is sometimes a very challenging place to be in terms of getting your message across, in terms of getting the kind of gigs that you'd like to. Is it changing, the arts now? Is it a different place than it was years ago?
Well, as I said, I've kind of taken a few steps away, and I've returned to my original approach, which is what's written for you is not going to pass you, you know. And there's never a reason to chase. You know, you do your best, you work very hard, you know, and Ashley and I have worked really hard on this project, and then you just, you know, you make dua and you trust in Allah. Like, so regarding the industry, and I'm not really kind of seeing it from that aspect anymore. I don't need a place in it. I just have a story which I want to tell, and I've got messages I want to give, and I want to do it in a way that's pleasing to Allah, and that's it, really, you know.
Nice one. In terms of your projects that you're doing, I understand there's a project you're doing in the Gambia, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, tell us a bit about that one.
Well, I went to Gambia earlier in the year. Brother said, let's go out to Gambia, work with some orphans, do some workshops, just up there, just lift their spirit. And when we went, their spirit was lower than I expected in regards to, I said, why are these kids so sad? They're only like 8 years old. Why are they so sad? They said, oh, you know, they don't have no money. I said, money? They don't know the value of money at 8 years old. As long as you've got a place to play, you're happy at that age. So I didn't understand. And then I started thinking, me and the brother, we were saying, maybe we can develop some of these orphanages and, you know, raise a little bit of money and repaint and get them new beds. And then it was like, you know, we didn't like the way the orphanage was run. So we said, you know what, and it was ambitious thinking, but it was always a dream of mine to build my own orphanage or school. And a brother, Abu Bakr, he had a dream of building a masjid. So it was like, let's just get our own land and imagine if we could build our own school, our own orphanage, our own masjid. And we both love football and a sports complex, because, you know, this is something that they love, the kids out there. So it seemed like not a dream, but it was like wishful thinking, like, could we do it? SubhanAllah, within a few months, Abu Bakr called me and said the land is purchased, we have it. Now we just have to raise money to build what we want to build. And I thought it was going to take a couple of years to raise enough money to build that. But by the end of Ramadan, subhanAllah, the money was in place and we have enough money to build everything. The work is happening. I'm getting pictures every day of every new brick that gets laid. So we have that. It's called the Spot Academy, supporting the people of tomorrow. And we're building a school, a masjid, orphanage, some studio flats and a sports centre and a clinic, a medical clinic, because these kids are not getting health checkups. And that's also for the community as well. And we're visiting in November with a big group.
Right, so are these kids smiling now then?
The kids are not maybe to move in because it hasn't happened, but we have kids from the previous orphanage and school we visited, they're the ones that will be moving in. So we've got 50 kids ready to move in when it's ready, and then we're going to be taking extra applicants. And I know they can't wait. The whole Love the Gambia is waiting for this to be ready, and it's exciting for me. I just can't believe that I'm ready to cut that rope and watch them running.
Nice one. So tell us about the film. Where can we see it? When is it going to be released? What's going to happen? Tell us about it. Sheila, perhaps.
Well, we're still going through some last amendments, and we want the film, obviously it's been a long time coming, so we want the film to be exactly as Ashley had it in mind, and so we're just kind of liaising with the editor now. So we'd had an advanced screening plan, but we decided to postpone it until we had something that we felt was, you know, the right standard for the public to see. So, yeah, just watch this space, really. I
felt like it was just something was missing because I lived so much since we made the film.
Right.
Like, for example, the Gambia project. I done my first Hajj last year. So it was like, can I put the documentary of my life out without including the Gambia project that we're building, without the Hajj in there? So it's just some last-minute tweaks. Wait, put it on hold. Let's add this into the edit and let's add that into the edit. And also the footage when I was in Kuwait, because I went to Kuwait while the film was getting made. So add that into the footage as well. So once we do those last-minute tweaks, the footage is there. Inshallah, I think within the next 8 weeks, you'll have this on the screen.
We're really looking forward to it, and I'm so glad you could come along today and explain and tell us about it. Ashley Chin and Sheila Nortley, thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme. We've come to the end of the programme. Thank you very much indeed again to my guests and for you at home for watching. Catch us online with the hashtag Africa This Week, IC, and catch some of the previous episodes on Islam Channel TV. We'll leave you with scenes of the Ghanaian ruling party who launched its election campaign on the Cape Coast ahead on December the 7th poll. We'll see you next week at the same time. Good night.